All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with Ernie. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Good. Yeah, of course. Glad to hear you're doing well. I'm doing well too, and yeah, it's an honor to have you on. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thanks for reaching out.
Of course. So, for those of you listening back home, really, I we actually through connecting for the podcast, we've realized that we maybe have a few more connections than we might have realized on the surface. But really cool guy, big passion for music. Which if you've been listening to the podcast, I love music. But Ernie, he's a music artist, doing some big things in the music scene. So that's kind of where you can find him and what his main priority is right now. But do you mind kind of giving the audience a little bit of rundown on who you are, what you're doing, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Ernie. My stage name is It's Ernie, ItsErnie. I've been rapping for probably taking it serious for like 4 or 5 years now. I grew up in the area right around Detroit, of course, and now I'm based and located in Fort Worth, Texas. I moved to Fort Worth probably 3, 4 years ago now, and just really met my team, my current label, and just kind of took my music career to the next level. So definitely seen some good growth. I've done shows in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Alabama, Michigan, of course, and just really growing the music, really making a career for myself. And this past year, just really focused on content as well. So that's really me in a nutshell. Just growing with music, growing with content, and being a content creator, and making connections, and doing what I love to do.
I love that. It's so important to do what you love, and it's really kind of just inspiring to see all that you've been doing these days. You mentioned that you're from the Detroit area and you moved to Texas. Was the move to Texas, was that primarily for the music career, or did you just want to move somewhere and then it just happened to work out since you moved down that way?
Yeah, my last job moved me. I actually went to Michigan State,
Hmm.
got a job out of school. They moved me to Alabama for a little while, and they moved me to Texas, and the rest is history. Things kind of just took off from there.
Okay,
So everything really just worked out and came together.
gotcha. And now Texas, is that a pretty, I guess, like busy or kind of like the place for music these days, or is it, have you just kind of like carved your own like niche out that way?
Yeah, I think Fort Worth has an incredible music scene.
Okay.
It's really community based. It's really easy to grow here. It's really easy to make connections here.
Yeah.
Fort Worth and Detroit are really similar. Like they're blue collar underdog cities. I feel like people don't talk about a lot, and
Yeah.
you definitely kind of get the chip on your shoulder vibe. And then the music community in Fort Worth, I've met so many people. Had so many great opportunities. Like in the past year, I've opened up for Ace Hood. I just opened up for Paul Wall. Um, and I mean, all of those opportunities and connections came through meeting people here.
Yeah.
Fort Worth is like 30 miles from Dallas. So the
Okay.
DFW area is huge. I mean, a lot of opportunity. I do like Dallas a lot. The music scene is definitely a little different, but there's really two different markets that I'm within 30 miles of,
Right.
for music and business. So I really love it here, and it's a great place to grow.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm a big fan of music, but I'm not too close to the scene or the community. So it's really cool to hear that out there in Texas, there is quite the big scene. And I also didn't know about Fort Worth and kind of that, kind of similar to Detroit mentality and feel that it has. I think that's really cool. And from being out, from you originally being in Detroit, the Detroit area, I think it's kind of like that cool transition. Like you're still kind of getting the same environment, that kind of has always been accustomed to you.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's nice, and there's a bunch of people from Michigan here too. I like my roommates from Flint. I
Okay.
meet people all the time that are from back home, so it's
Yeah,
great.
I love that. That's awesome. You said so you've been rapping for a while, you've been doing music for a while. When you first kind of got into it, was it something that right away you knew like, hey, this is what I want to do? Or was it just kind of like, oh, I'm just kind of messing around, having fun, and then it kind of took off from there?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been rapping for years. I mean, I was the kid at the lunch table. I mean, I was freestyling in A Pod and C Pod, and like I mean, we went
Yeah,
to the same high school, so
right.
people will understand those references. But like, shoot, I did the MME rap for the announcements way back in the day.
I remember
So
that now. Okay, yeah. It's still stuck in my
Yeah.
head to this day.
Hey, I'm glad. Catchy hooks, I pride myself in. But, no, yeah, like, I mean, it's always been a passion. I really like connecting with people and making a positive impact. And then, I went to Michigan State. It was the same thing, like doing shows, open up for people. Um, but I feel like the last like 2 to 3 years, I've really given it like 100%. Um, and it's paid off with dividends of really like inspiring people, building a fan base, and just like being out and about, and having something to do,
Mhm.
building a community, just really just like inspiring and motivating people, and just having a good time. Like I'm definitely a people person, and like making the music that people can rock to and connect to is really drives me.
I think that's really cool. I mean, I can tell how passionate you are about it, and just the fact that, it's all about kind of positivity and making that connection for you. I think that that's important because I think sometimes we get a little lost in, the impact that we can have, or how music is a form of art that can bring people together or give people something to celebrate or be happy about. So it's really cool that you kind of have that focus when it comes to your own musical career.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Of course. When it comes to, your own original music and everything, are you writing and producing everything on your own? Or like, I know you mentioned you have a team. Do you have people that you work with for some of those things, or is it kind of like a collaboration effort?
Yeah, so I'm writing all my lyrics are written by me.
Okay.
I do work with a couple different producers, some producers from here, some producers from Detroit. My roommate produces for me as well. So I mean, I made a lot of connections throughout the years, and it's great to like foster those and like
Yeah.
really, really maintain those connections. Like, I mean, I probably shoot one of my main producers I met at Michigan State at
Okay.
like a showcase, and I mean, we've made hits together. We've made a lot of records together. I think my last three, almost like 2 out of 3 of my last tracks and my next one were produced by him. His name is Jupiter.
Okay.
And I think he is working with a couple record labels, so he might have some really good news to announce soon. I'm not going to do it for him, but so it's been great to grow with him and like watch him level up, and
Yeah.
me do the same.
That's awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. And you said you do all your own lyrics, you write your own lyrics, writing process, if you don't mind kind of sharing a little bit about that. What's that look like?
Yeah, well, it really goes twofold, and I really just like, I mean, rap about my life. Like, I think a lot of people, one of their favorite songs is called "I Just Moved to the South,"
Okay.
and it's just me rapping about how I moved to Bama, and then I came to Texas. Like, I just moved to the South. I need some gold in my mouth. Like, just kind of rapping about real life events, because I feel like it's authentic and it's like what inspires me and motivates me. So like most of the stuff you hear are like true events actually happen. Like, hey, like this is my life. No cap in these raps. And sometimes I like hear a beat and it's just an instantaneous like, okay, like I got a hook. Let me write the verse. Like it's easy. And then like sometimes it's like, okay, I have this song that I really want to express this feeling. I really want to get this out. So let me write the whole song and then just look for the beat. It really depends. And I mean,
Okay.
I've been freestyling for years. So like some records, I'm just literally, I'll just freestyle on it for like
Yeah.
a couple takes, and then we'll just take like the best version of that and get it ready for release.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. And I know you mentioned that, you know, this your trip to the South, that's one that a lot of people seem to like. I know it's one of those questions like what's your, or like who's your favorite child, but do you have a favorite track that you've written or over your career?
Ooh, yeah, it's hard to pick. I feel like I have like there's definitely eras of tracks. So I have like favorite eras.
Okay.
Um like I have a song called Kaizen Flow. And I used to work in the automotive industry, so like Kaizen, like anyone who works in that area or in manufacturing like knows like Kaizen and continuous improvement. So like
Mhm.
it was fun for me to like flip my 9 to 5 to like my passion is, and just name a song called Kaizen Flow. The South is one of my favorites. Ernie Mode is one of my favorites. I mean, it's dubbed Ernie Mode, 10 shots. Definitely gets the party started. And then like one of my most recent favorites is Take My Phone Away, which is literally just a breakup song about, take my phone when I'm drunk because you're texting a girl. So like it's like the era of life I'm in, I have favorite songs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's cool because I mean, like you said, the eras of life, and I think that you can look back on past eras or, songs that you've put out and been like, wow, like that's where I was during that time. Or I mean, just imagine like 20 years, you're gonna have this whole just collection of stuff that you're gonna be able to look back at and see like, oh, like this is how I was feeling or this is what I was going through. I think that's really cool. It's kind of like almost like keeping a journal, but a public one where everyone's hearing your thoughts and experiences.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and like I'm getting ready to make an album, and like I feel like that albums are gonna be the same way, where it's like, dang man, we did this album here, and we were
Yeah,
there, and we did this album here, like and like your favorite artists and musicians, you always see like where they were when they made those albums and those tracks, and
right.
it's great to see myself evolve as a musician and as a person, and
Yeah,
also it's cool for like fans to be like, bro, I remember when you made this, and now you're making that,
right.
so.
Yeah, no, for sure. You mentioned, the growth that you've had throughout your musical career. What would you say has been like the biggest area that you've grown in since you've started to where you're at now?
I think just like consistency and then like writing and recording. Like I've been freestyling for years now, which
Hmm.
is crazy to say and think, but like it's already been since high school where like I'm gonna show up to the party and rap about my friends to now where it's like I'm doing polished performances on big stages, in front of big people and big acts. I think just like the writing and the polishing of the sound, where it's like, I mean, like every musician has a story. Like, man, my friends thought I was so whack back in the day, and now they're like, dude, my wife plays your song in Target, and I'm like, yo, that's awesome. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and so like I think just the polished records, like like as a musician, you learn about mixing and mastering, and you
Hmm.
learn about production and getting in the right studios. Like, okay, you used to record out your bedroom. Now you're going to a professional studio. So like the investment and just the maturation of your music. Sometimes it
Hmm.
takes time. Some people are really quick with it. Sometimes it takes longer, but it's always great to see like something like music that you're really competing against yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you mentioned performing on, stages, performing in front of large groups and crowds and, big names and everything. How has performing been for you? Like, I know that you've always, like you said, freestyled and stuff in front of groups of friends and at parties and whatnot, but like, was getting up on a stage and doing it, was that kind of an intimidating or scary feeling, or was it pretty natural for you?
It's I mean, I've done it a while, but
Yeah.
it's definitely become more natural now where
Okay.
like I mean, I went from I used to work at Sky Zone on Ford Road.
Yeah.
I think that was like my first show, like just hey, told the manager, let me grab the mic or whatever, to like doing like festival stages, like
Right.
doing festivals, rapping in front of 200 to 300 people, like just like stuff like that is it's not like second nature, but you just get more comfortable the more you do it. So
Yeah.
definitely feels good. But it's definitely I'm like I feel real comfortable on stage, and I love doing it because I feel like performing and connecting with people from the little kid that's bopping to your music that probably doesn't understand what you're saying to like I have a song called Fonzie, and like I'm like, hey parents, make sure you tell your kids who Fonzie is. They're like, oh my god. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay.
yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, that's kind of what I anticipated you saying that like it's, you've definitely grown a lot in terms of how comfortable you are on stage from when you started to now, but it's cool to kind of see that growth and just from the clips and videos I've seen of your performances. I mean, it shows that you have that energy, that stage presence, which I think is cool because it looks like you're just having fun up there. And I think that's the important part.
Yeah, no, it's a blast. I appreciate it. But it's a blast. Like it's probably like I always compare stuff to sports so people get it.
Yeah.
It's like man, it's like you practice, and it's like game day under the lights, and you just have your set, and it's just the greatest time.
When you perform, do you feel that like you feed off a lot of the crowd energy?
Oh yeah, and
Okay.
like I mean like the greats will talk about it like I study everybody, but like Drake talked about how he used to like when he started performing, he'd get all nervous, like he'd
Mhm.
just like look straight down. So to like help him get past that and connect with the audience, he would make like eye contact with people. So
Okay.
like I like eye contact on stage is so important. And like sometimes like certain shows, like because we're like, like we see everyone when you're performing. And like I've been in some shows where like the lights are so bright and you can barely see people. And
Okay.
that was like cool, but it's like great like doing like intimate shows where it's like, man, you got a packed venue of 100 people and like I can see the girl mouthing my words. I can see the dude just going crazy, jumping, and then I can
Mhm.
like, and then I've been the opener where it's like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this person, and like they're not gonna know me my first song, but on my last song, they're gonna be like singing the words. So like
Yeah.
that's cool to see, but just to really like connect with people, like, hey, like yo, like I'm up here, I'm doing it. That's always awesome.
No, for sure. Um, you just mentioned Drake, so of course, I'm assuming, like you said, you kind of learn from a lot of the greats out there, but, has there been any other artists or specific ones that really have kind of inspired you or you've looked up to throughout your journey?
Oh yeah, Childish Gambino,
Okay.
Drake, Kendrick Lamar, um, Chance the Rapper, Travis Scott, Big Sean, Eminem. Like, I mean, those are definitely Logic. Like, Logic was my first concert.
Okay.
Um, so those are definitely some of the greats that I've looked up to, learned from, been inspired by. Bump in the Whip, like, yeah, it's you know, but like Childish Gambino is still my favorite rapper, and like his diversity of talent, like all the stuff he does,
Yeah.
that's like my goal. Like, hey, rapper turn actor, turn comedian. I don't know about the comedian part, but definitely rapper turn actors in my career plan.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm a big fan of, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, however you wanna refer to him as, super
Yeah,
talented guy, so, no, that's really cool, and I love the diversity as well that he has with the skill set, and, yeah, I think, like, kind of like you said, just being able to learn from the other people that are in your industry or that are doing the things that you wanna do, even, like, if you never get to have a conversation with any of the people that you listen to, named, you can, watch interviews, hear how they work in the studio, you can still get that kind of information even if you never, like, personally connect with them, and I think that's something that's, everyone, I'd encourage everyone to do whatever their passion is to people in that their lane and kinda learn from them or try to get some advice or kind of tips from them.
yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, it's part of the journey, and like
Yeah.
I feel like the entertainment industry, like there's so many things you can do with it. Like rappers become actors, actors become rappers. I mean, we have
Mhm.
content creators and and the YouTubers becoming boxers. And it's like I mean it's
Yeah.
all entertainment. And they're all I feel like similar to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like people don't think about it like that, but it makes sense. Like, hey, if you're a rapper, you're telling your story. When
Mhm.
you're acting like theater, you're still telling a story. It's a different scripted story, but it's similar. And like
Right.
we see with wrestling and boxers now too, and like all the YouTubers. It's like I mean, it's a way different story, but you're still putting on a show, and I mean, hopefully
Exactly.
it's not rigged like they want us to believe. But I
Right.
feel like it's still putting on a show for people, building it up, doing the promotion, and then having a show and selling that product.
Exactly. So I know that you mentioned something that you're kind of working on and been focusing on is content creation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and I think like music now in the industry, like post COVID, um, has changed, dramatically. Like TikTok, like this TikTok stars, like it used to be like SoundCloud rappers, and everyone
Yeah.
like blew up on SoundCloud, and everyone blew up on YouTube, and they had these crazy music videos. Well, I feel like post COVID and around that time, like everyone's on TikTok, and TikTok is building careers.
Hmm.
So, I was talking with my team, the label Trend Music out here in Fort Worth, and like our management was literally just, hey guys, you got to make a TikTok a day. You got to blow up on TikTok. You got to, influence people and make this short form content. Like 5, 6 years ago, I was like, man, you drop a music video once a month and you drop a song once a month, you're consistent, you'll blow up.
Yeah.
But now it's like you make a TikTok sound or go viral on TikTok. Like there's so many examples of artists who've done that and gotten careers.
Hmm.
That's how you really blow up. So I think last summer I just really got committed. Like, okay, I'm gonna blow up on TikTok. I'm gonna blow up on TikTok, and I started a series called Crazy Bars I've Heard, and like
Hmm.
that was like around last July, and now like TikTok, I have about 136,000 followers. I have an Instagram with about I think 70,000 right now. My Facebook's almost on 10K, and like, I mean, the content has just gone crazy. Like, I've done a couple brand deals with some alcohol companies, SiriusXM. I worked with the tourism division of Fort Worth, so like Visit Fort Worth. So it's just really became like a whole new career for me, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool, but it's like not what you expect, but it's like,
Hmm.
oh, of course, like another source of income in the entertainment industry. Like I'll definitely take that. And then it's
Yeah.
cool to connect with people in a way like that, where like, I mean, I have a couple followers. I'm like Paul Pierce follows one of my pages. Like
Wow.
Sway in the morning is like,
Yeah.
oh, like we're going back and forth about something or some rap line, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely like proud of it, but it's definitely like a new lane, a new wave
Hmm.
for me for sure. That like a year and a half ago, you told me, yeah, you're gonna blow up on TikTok and Instagram and have this. I would have been like, bro, that's crazy. But definitely happy about it.
Yeah, it's really cool that you've had that success with it. And when you're doing like the content creation and then you're also doing your musical career, like, do you find it ever hard to like, is it almost like I wish I had more time so I could do it all, or have you kind of found that perfect balance that you need to kind of put focus into both?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because it really feels like two businesses right now.
Okay.
Where it's like, hey, like I have like my content creator stuff, my crazy bars I've heard stuff. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this like this day or this hour or this session, and then I have like my Ernie, my music stuff. It's like, hey man, like all right, I'm rapping, I'm doing shows and promoting, selling merch. So it's like really like two businesses, which is like, oh wow, that's a lot of work, but also like it's great, in other ways. Like it's what I want, like it's my passion. So
Right.
it's like I feel like everyone, who works hard or does something like this, like everyone knows, like it takes the time, it takes the diligence, but it definitely pays off.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that that's a good point that like it takes the time, the diligence, and you have to be patient. I mean, you kind of mentioned with the social era, people can blow up with like one song and alter their career. But I feel like outside of, the massive overnight success, a lot of it takes a long time to kind of build and grow. And, you have to kind of be patient with it and can't just expect instant results all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely took a while. Like I tell people, like I teach a class, for my label, and like I tell people, like you just got to do it like once a day, and like I mean, that sounds like a lot, but like when it becomes a routine, like hey, like I wake up, shower, brush my teeth, and then post a TikTok. Like once becomes part of your routine, it's like second nature. But like I mean, that's also the work it takes. Like just
Hmm.
like high school football, it's like, man, you got to work out 3 times a week. Like you got to go to every workout, like
Yeah.
to get big and strong. So like content creation is like the same thing. Is like just got to be creative. Find your lane and just post once a day, twice a day, as many times as you can, and um, the stuff that works, you keep doing, and all these social media apps reward you, and stuff that doesn't work, you just go back to the drawing board. So I mean, it definitely takes time
Hmm.
and diligence and consistency, but it's definitely possible. Because if I can do it, like I tell people, man, if I can do it, or you can do it. It's so
Yeah.
cliche and so like, oh, you're crazy, but like when you actually like do it, and like you actually like listen to the people who are like saying the same things, and
Hmm.
like doing the similar stuff, it's like, yeah, man, like once you crack that code,
Right.
it's a great feeling.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to content creation or anything kind of in that creative something that kind of people is that like it does take that long kind of pay thing. So I think about like content creation. Maybe someone posts, a video on YouTube, or they post, a TikTok, Instagram post, whatever, and it gets, maybe three or one like or something. And I think a lot of people get discouraged right away from that. Like, I guess, what kind of advice do you have from like when you're in the very beginning and you aren't really seeing kind of like the huge numbers you want? Like, how can you stay motivated and keep going with it?
Yeah, I definitely related to the gym, right? Like if you
Okay.
like it's like the gym and New Year's resolutions. Like everyone comes
Yeah.
January 1st, all right, I'm gonna lose like 30 pounds, right? And it's
Right.
like, you know, it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna work out once a day for January and lose 30 pounds. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you might gain a little weight and muscle. Sometimes you're like, your routine's not right. So it's really just like the gym, where like with the gym, you just got to go through it. You just got to go, like the person who goes to the gym 3 times a week, January, February, March, is probably in better shape with someone who starts in January really hot and then just fizzles out. So
Yeah.
like with me, it's just I just post through it. Like if I have a successful video, I study why it's successful, like why I connected with people, like what else can I do with it, and then I just keep, posting the same thing or similar stuff. And like, yeah, you might have some videos that, oh, this one, I had one that did 1,000 and one did 20 and one did 50 and then one did 300. But like, you just got to keep posting and keep going through it. Because that video that did 1,000, it did 1,000 for a reason. You did a good job with it. And then you just got to keep rolling. And then your next video that pops off is going to do 2,000. And then you
Mm-hmm.
keep growing and growing. It's just like staying consistent and just really tuning into your audience and like, hey, why was this successful? Like, why did people connect with this one? So
Yeah.
you just gotta post through it. And with the
Yeah.
gym, you just gotta wake up and go. It sucks sometimes, we just gotta wake up and go.
Yeah. No, I think that's great advice. And something that, I mean, like, it's not really something that I've seen personally, just because, like, I'm not really in the creative, like, content creation space too much. I mean, the podcast, like, say, but um, what I wanted to put out there to people is like, you might post a video or something tomorrow, and you might get like 20 likes, but or views or whatever, but like in a couple months, that video could blow up. And I think that's kind of like the crazy thing with like social media, that like just because maybe you're not seeing like the instant results right away, that doesn't mean that like it's not just going to go viral in a couple months or a year because of something that makes it relevant again.
Yeah, no, like I agree too. And honestly, it's kind of crazy because like I mean these apps are always changing, but it's all math. Like all these algorithms are
Yeah.
like math. Like I feel like people like, oh, you and your best friend, your For You page might start syncing up, or your Instagram Explore page gets similar because it's like, yo, they can tell you guys are liking similar stuff and sharing
Hmm.
stuff. So like it's not like it's a science and it's math to it. Like people's FYP sync up because oh they're sending videos to their friends and you're liking and favoriting the same things. On Instagram, you're saving the same things. Like Facebook, you're sharing and liking the same things. I mean, these apps are just using math to really show you what you want to see. So if you have content that does well, it's like, hey man, like that video might do this like one day, but 3 months from now it might just pop off randomly. Or like
Hmm.
if you like people are posting about AI right now and Chat
Yeah.
GPT. It's like, hey, if you posted that stuff 2 months ago, it's like, what's that?
Right.
People know now and they're gonna tune in. So it's really stuff that like you never know what can happen. And that's why I always say just like, hey, like post through it. And even with music, like songs. I mean, God, what was that show last year? Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Running Up That Hill with Kate Bush. I mean,
Oh
that song
yeah.
came out in the 80s. I'm sure it was a big hit, but she was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a week
Yeah.
because of a song that came out 30 years ago. And like that's just how content or any like video YouTube thing works now. Like you never know when your intellectual property, when your content is going to blow up. And that's why I always say post, drop that song, post that post, make that video. Like you never know. And like you
Yeah.
might stumble upon a new passion, a new career, a new source of income because I know we all need that.
Right. Right. That's a great example. And when you mentioned Kate Bush and the song, the other one that I thought of is, I remember the exact song or artist, unfortunately, but it was like that TikTok about like the guy was like skateboarding, drinking some like juice. Like I don't,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, you know what
uh,
I'm talking about?
yeah, it was a Fleetwood Mac song.
Yes, yeah.
Like, bro, he was like homeless and he got like started getting brand and marketing deals, and like that's like great stuff to
Yeah.
see.
Exactly, like, that just, like, like, completely just changed his life, and then, Fleetwood Mac, like, I'm sure probably the majority of people listening to this have heard of them, but I wanna say, like, I remember reading, like, the song, whatever song was playing, like, it was popular in its day, like, when it came out, but, like, it started, like, topping charts and stuff, like, 20 years after it came out because of the viral video.
Yeah.
It's
And we have
crazy.
like, yeah, and like, I mean, growing up, like you've seen the people that have gone viral. There's actually an influencer, a boxer on Trend that, I happened to meet and talk to a bunch of while. He's doing the boxing thing and he's killing it.
Okay.
Um, his name is Minikon, and he did like a podcast in the city. He was just talking about it. Like, there's people that go viral and take advantage of it and make careers out of it, and like
Mhm.
there's some people who don't. So like, it's a whole industry. It's how you really manifest and take advantage of it. Because I mean, like we've seen all these trends like Bad Baby, Catch Me Outside, and
Yeah,
like Damn Daniel, like all these like trends that we grew up with, and like these people, and it's like if you take advantage of the content and your virality, like you can make a living off of it.
for sure. Definitely. So, Ernie, something that I'm kind of interested in is, just from talking to you conversation and seeing things you've accomplished and the direction you're going, in my mind, I wanna say, like, you've had to add a pretty strong mindset, or, like, mindset's probably had to play a significant role in, how you've become who you are, and I know you grew up playing sports as well, so I sometimes think, like, when you have that athletic background, that mindset kinda helps, in terms of goal setting or accomplishing things, or just kind of even, manifesting your dreams and desires. Like, how much has mindset played a role in kind of journey and everything that you're doing?
Oh yeah, it's everything. I had the pleasure and the privilege to see my time at Michigan State. I saw Eric Thomas speak. Like he would speak. He did like a weekly series at Michigan State. And he's a motivational speaker, like hip hop preacher. I want as bad as you want to breathe. And he talked about life and goal setting, and your mental strength, and like what do you want out of life? Like what do you want to do, and like how bad do you want to get it? So I think like my attitude, like daily, monthly, like yearly, is like, hey, like what do I want of my life? Like what do I want out of my day? Like what do I want from my music, my content, my relationships? Like everything is like what do I want? And then what do I need to get it? Because there's one thing to have dreams, one thing to have goals, but if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a process in place, or you don't know the process, or don't know how to figure out the process. So I mean, the process, you got to have a plan and a process. If you don't know the process, you need to learn the process. Like because it's one thing to have a goal and to want to achieve something, but it's like, okay, how do I need to do it? Like you can go to the gym and say, hey, I want a big chest and big arms, but it's like, okay, what exercise do you need to get it? So I like focus my mindset every day of like, okay, this is what I want. Like how can I achieve it? How can I make it better? How do I go about this? How do I make this awesome song? How do I blow up on TikTok? How do I make sure my family's happy and my homies aren't mad at me? Like how do I have good relationships? So like it's all about like wanting something and like how to do it. And I feel like going to that success series with Eric Thomas like during college was like definitely life changing, and definitely like set me on the right path of saying like, okay, it's one thing to want it, have a dream. It's another thing to like go through the process. And like sometimes like the most rewarding things in life is in the process of it. Like it's great having a goal and an end goal and setting stuff like that, but it's not even better to like have fun doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And when you mentioned, knowing how to do things or how you're going to accomplish it or how you're going to get there, do you always find that you know the answer to the how, or are there some times where I have no idea?
Oh no, yeah. There's definitely been
Okay.
times where it's like I have no idea.
Okay.
So like it's always great getting, going to places, networking. Like I'm really grateful for my team down here in Fort Worth. Like there's like Trend Music and everyone who's worked with Trend Music, and like there's been people at the city of Fort Worth who like helped me out. I mean, there's been like musicians and artists that helped me. So it's great to get help from them, but also give back to them, because you gotta invest in people who invest in you, show love to people who show love to you. And there's always a way to find out information. I mean, YouTube, TikTok, um, like every artist is going to have influences and artists that they studied, cover songs that they sang, beats that they rapped on. And like, I feel like anything in life is like, hey, you can find a mentor.
Hmm.
You can find a path. You can find someone who's like, man, like I want what they have. Like I want to
Right.
invest in stocks. Well, go read a book by Warren Buffett. Stuff like
Right.
that. So I feel like when there's a will, there's a way. And when you want something, you just gotta make a plan and get together a process.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think that sometimes people can struggle with almost feeling overwhelmed, like, hey, I want to accomplish this, and like Ernie said, maybe I want to invest in stocks. So you can read a book by, people that specialize in that. But, you might think like, oh, there's so many books out there. Who should what author should I read from? But honestly, I think, you just have to start. It doesn't necessarily matter per se, like just kind of get started, just get into it, get your feet wet and kind of learn and grow and see what you like, don't like from there. And I think that's kind of a good recipe to start something. Is that something that like you kind of feel similar on, or do you think like you should be more like specific when you start something new?
Yeah, no, definitely just start. I mean,
Okay.
everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And like life is short, just do it. Like Nike and Phil Knight said, and Shia LaBeouf, just do it. But no, just start somewhere. And like any progress is progress. Like
Yeah.
some people like trip about like, oh man, they're doing this and I'm doing this. Like, man, comparison is a thief of joy. Just focus on yourself. Like it's me versus me. Like, what do I need to
Mm,
do to improve? Like really like look at yourself and say, okay, how can I get better than yesterday, not what they're doing. And also like encourage like just start and like reach out to friends, reach out to your support group. Like I feel like a lot of people like aim for the stars with things, or like I know musicians who are like, man, I'm gonna go call Lil Wayne and Eminem for a feature. I'm gonna save up all this money to get a feature from them, and then we're gonna do this or that. And I'm like, yo, you got your homie who's super talented, who's way less expensive, and who's doing dope
yeah.
stuff. Like y'all can help each other grow, like
Right.
grow together. Like I think
Right.
Issa Rae, the creator of Insecure, like she talks about a lot. She's like, man, I think I had to go, like I need to find someone at the next level and like reach out to them and work with them. But sometimes it's like, no, like reach out to the side and bring
Mm-hmm.
everybody up. So like I always try to support like independent business owners. I mean, whether it's clothing lines, obviously everyone in the music space and entertainment space, photographers, videographers, clothing lines, creators, podcasters. I just love to support people like doing it independent, doing their grind, starting from, somewhere, and then like we can all help each other grow. Like you're helping me
Exactly.
grow with this podcast, and then I hope I help your podcast grow and people listen to this. So like I feel like bringing each other up and starting somewhere is where people need to do, and then just keep going with it, stay
Yeah.
consistent. Like, oh, like, hey, like I'm gonna do a podcast, do it for a year, like commit to it for a year, see how. Okay, I'm gonna get to like I've had a bunch of podcast homies here in Fort Worth. They're celebrating 100 episodes. Like, man, y'all done a
Yeah.
100 episodes. Like that's awesome. Like y'all are getting press from the media. Like y'all are throwing parties. Y'all getting sponsorships from bars. Like that's awesome. You got to celebrate that,
Yeah.
and you got to like help lift people up, because you never know who's the next person that's going to get signed by Barstool or whatever. But
Right.
like I just think like, hey, you got to start somewhere, grow together with people and just really create a plan.
Exactly. I completely agree, and I think that Ernie, nailed it on the head right there with just kind of growing and leveling up with the people in your life. And I mean, whether it's people that you've known all your life and you're, the best of friends, like help each other grow, or even if it's just kind of like, mutual connections or just people that like you kind of know through a friend. Like I think that sometimes we get in this mindset that like we have to beat out other people or like we have to be the only one that gets to the top, but at the end of the day, like it's so much better when you're getting to the top of the people that you care about, or the people that are on the same wavelength as you. And I can fully say that from just even doing this episode with you, man, like I just feel grateful, and I feel the uplift from you and your energy, and just I feel like I'm learning from you. I feel like you're helping me by, like you said, just kind of giving back to independent businesses or people. And just to have someone like yourself who's just killing it in the music scene and content creation to want to be a part of this, man, like to me that's an honor. And the least that I can do is to try to give you the platform or to support you and your endeavors outside of this recording. It's just, I think that that's what it's about. I think life at the end of the day is just all about that human connection, and it's important to just feed into that, but make sure it's genuine and it's coming from a place of genuine care and just interest.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And
Yeah,
that's what life's about, man. Like it's like
exactly.
we're here, you got to support people and have a positive impact.
Exactly. So, Ernie, I'm curious, when you first, like, because we just talked about kind of just getting started
Sorry.
and just going for it, and just finding a way to get started. So, like, when you first started your music, uh, I mean, what kind of like equipment were you using? Were you using just kind of like basic stuff, or like your phone, or like did you have some like a good setup right away, or what did that look like?
Oh yeah, I was on GarageBand. I mean, I
Yeah.
had like it took me a while to get a mic. I remember I was in the radio in high school, WSDP 88.1. And my first studio session was a contest through them. And it
Okay.
was like, I mean, you'll know, and people listening will know, like, man, like, this is like a contest for the radio. Like, yeah, we're going to put you in a studio.
Yeah.
I drove with some of the homies at the time. Hey, if they're listening, shout out Ella and Duxter. But we drove to this studio. It was in like this dude's basement, and like the room wasn't soundproof. He like put like a blanket over like this chair, and like the mic was just like whatever. And I was like, oh man, this is my first session. So like, yeah, like I mean, I was, and then like when I first got my first equipment, I mean, it was like cheap stuff, and then
Yeah.
I had to learn how to use Logic. Like you really just gotta start somewhere. I mean,
Exactly.
now like, I mean, I've done professional studios. I mean, I've gotten credits from people who are on classic albums, work with great people. I mean, like the list goes on. So like, yeah, I mean, starting out, it was like super basic, super low key, super cheap, but
Yeah.
definitely now like it's gotten better, put some investment and some time in. But yeah, like I
Right.
started like with the Scarlett and a little MacBook and
Yeah.
a USB mic. Like it was really like yeah, it was really super basic stuff.
See, I love that because I think that like a lot of people, and even I'm not gonna name any names or anything, but like I've had some friends who are like, oh, I want to get into content creation, I want to start vlogging, or I want to post YouTube videos, but I don't have $4,000 to go drop on a camera or like a lapel mic or whatever, and I'm like, in the kind of world we're living in now, like cell phone quality is insane. Like just start filming on
Oh
your
yeah,
phone and like just
Li-
record on your phone or just like, just get started. Because
li-
honestly, like the beginning of the journey is gonna be like probably not great. So it's like, you don't need all that equipment right away.
literally. I mean, I shoot all my stuff on my phone
Yeah.
and a ring light. I mean, that ring light was for like $50 on Amazon. I mean, like I have million view videos with like my cell phone and a ring light, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some ads on my cell phone, and like the companies are like, "Oh yeah, it looks great." I'm like, "All right, cool." I mean,
Right.
like especially now, like, I mean, you get an iPhone probably anything after an 11.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get the 12, 13, 14, like you're good quality wise. Just get in some good
Exactly.
lighting and film it and go for it. Because yeah, I mean, I'm filming most of my content on a phone, and then like, I mean, if it's a big job, you get a camera, but you could rent those for cheaper than you think. And I mean, yeah,
Right.
like that, get started. Like, if you're listening to this, just start tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Like, I mean, really, I know that it can be intimidating and scary, or you're afraid to take that jump, but just get started. And I mean, like, just do it for yourself, do it for fun, give it a shot. Like, you never know. And I think the other big piece of advice is like, stay consistent with it. Like, if you want to try vlogging, don't just do it once and then be like, oh, I only got 5 views, or "Ah, I felt kind of weird talking to a camera out in public." Like, commit to doing it for, you know, I don't know, 20 episodes or for a month or every day for the next like 3 weeks or something, or 2 weeks, just like don't write it off right away. Give it some time and be consistent with it.
yeah, and I think like don't burn yourself out starting.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, like commit to a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a lot of artist friends. I'm like, they're like, man, how do I post content consistently? I'm like, hey man, like you don't have to post once a day, twice a day, like off the bat if you don't want to. Like try 2 times a week, try 3 times a week. And then like once you get that in a routine, like, okay, I can increase it or I can't. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Like if you have a podcast, like, hey, like I want to do you don't have to do one episode a week. Maybe you want to do 2 episodes a month. Or maybe you just want to plan like a season, like a television show, and say, hey guys, I'm season one, and you do consistent shows for like 12 weeks, and then do a recap of your season and post some highlights, and then okay, like you take a break and take a month off, and then another
Yeah.
month you plan and you have another season drop, and you do 2 seasons a year, something like that. Like I just think like consistency over time will take you farther, and you'll feel
Yeah.
better and healthier about it, and people will get used to seeing it. Like there's an artist called LaRussell. He talks about artists and content. It's like, man, like people are like, oh, like this is so new and so crazy. It's like, nah, man, like you are the media now. Like these are TV
Mm-hmm.
shows. Like every artist is a TV show now. So you got to
Right.
post the content so people tune into your show. You set your seasons, you set the plot, and people get invested because that's what the media is now for kids like us, our generation,
Yeah.
the younger generations. Like that's what they're doing. They're not watching cable like that anymore. They're on
Right.
TikTok. So
Right. Exactly. I love that point of just like, you know, having that consistency, having that schedule, but not burning yourself out. I think that like it's we all have that good intention of like I just want to hit the ground running hard, and I just want to do every single day, multiple times a day. Whether that's content creation or even working out or studying for something. But I think like avoiding that burnout at the beginning, like that really is good advice. Honestly, as you said that, I was like, man, like that's something I wish someone told me years ago, or like when I first started my journey and kind of my endeavors and stuff. Because I think like you just want to change the world in such a short time, but you got to kind of take care of yourself and know your limits and make sure that you're doing something that's sustainable for you too. Because if you're not, in a good place with whatever you're doing, then whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's probably not going to go as well as you hope.
yeah, and I feel like if you have big dreams and aspirations, you're like, hey man, I want to make this podcast my business, this
Yeah.
living. If I want to make music a business, a living, if I want to make content or whatever, like whatever you want to do, like if it's a hobby for you, cool, enjoy it, have fun with it, escape. But if you're like, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to take this as a business, like you got to treat it like a business. You should have a 5 year plan, a 3 year plan. You should talk about, all the financials and things like that. Like that's something
Right.
personally I've had to like get accustomed to and grow with. It's like, hey man, like it's time to get the LLC. It's time to level up. It's time to,
Right.
be organized and, like have a business plan. Talk about all the accounting information that I don't like because I don't like math that much. But like you gotta start
Yeah.
having those conversations because if it's like, hey man, I want to like take my podcast to be my income and do a living, it's like, hey man, well we need a business plan. Let's talk
Right.
about your goals. Let's talk about how you're going to generate income. So
Right.
yeah, like I said, like ET said, like there's a plan, there's a goal, and then how to achieve it.
Exactly. And something kind of with what Ernie was talking about of like having those business plans, having those plans and everything. Something that I want to encourage people, and like this is honestly something that I struggle with personally, but like, throughout this conversation, Ernie's talked about having a great team. Like don't be afraid to have a team around you, a team that you trust, you can rely on. I'm someone that is like, no, I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm gonna be, completely on my own. I'm not gonna rely on anyone else's help. And I don't know, maybe people could argue that that could be a good thing at times, but the point being is like, don't be afraid or don't let like any ego get in the way of like asking for help or like, hiring or bringing on the right people that can help you in certain areas. Cause, like even you said, and I'm in the same boat, I'm not a math person either. So it's like, why do I want to do the finances if I can bring someone on that I know, that's their expertise. So don't be afraid to build up those teams and to use your resources and to ask for help because I think that sometimes we struggle with it. I know I do, but it can be really helpful and it can help you kind of focus on what your passion is and what you really feel energized doing if you have other people to help support in the things that maybe you're not as versed in.
Yeah, and I'm all for mutually beneficial relationships. And
Yeah.
keyword mutually beneficial relationships. Like, hey, like treat people right.
Yeah.
Do live by the golden rule. Like if you're doing business with someone, like be upfront with them. Communicate with them. Make sure you're both getting something out of it.
Right.
And if they have a value and they have a price, like respect that. Either pay what they're owed as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a human being, or like find out a way to add value to their life and they'll add value
Hmm.
to yours. Like I'm all for that. I think like sometimes people want to discount people's value or like they don't think like, oh, that's not worth it or that's not worth my time. But like if you work with them and y'all can both like help each other out, like you scratch my back, I scratch your back, like it's all for the greater good and it helps you
Right.
out and everyone grows together.
Yeah. 100%. I could not say that any better myself. Ernie, I think probably the last question that came to mind that I'd love to pick your brain on real quick. And I know we've kind of touched a little bit about it throughout the whole podcast and throughout our conversation, but to anyone that's listening that specifically wants to go into music, similar to yourself, what kind of advice do you have for someone that they want to break into the music industry or they want to get started in music, but they're maybe a little unsure how to go about that?
Oh man, I mean, obviously work super hard, but
Okay.
just have that mindset of like Ed Sheeran's a great story because he's like he was like, okay, I want to be a great songwriter. So what did he do? He's like, I'm gonna write 10,000 bad songs. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get all of my bad songs out the way. So when I hit number 10,000, I'll be great. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
with music, like that's what you need to do. Like you need to make 100 songs. You need to go out there and say, hey, I'm gonna make 100 songs. Like the first 50 or 60 might be bad, but when I get to song 80, I got a hit.
Yeah.
Song 83, another hit. And then by song like 95 through 100, you got five amazing records.
Right.
So just making as much music as possible, working super hard, and then like networking. Like you don't like I meet musicians and they're like, yeah, I rap or I sing. It's like, no, bro, like say it with your chest. Like you're an artist, you're a
Mm-hmm.
musician, you rap, you sing. Like your voice is amazing because like no one's gonna believe in you unless you believe in yourself. And
Yeah.
like you're an entertainer. Oh, I'm not a superstar. You gotta act like you're a superstar.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift is worship. Beyonce are worship. Like we love Big Sean. Eminem's a legend. Like all these people. They're they're humans just like us, but they wanted to be entertainers and they started acting like entertainers and behaving like that. So like you just gotta work super hard, have that mindset, and really just be an entertainer, be a superstar before you are a superstar.
Yeah.
Um, so that's my advice to anyone who starts in music, because like you gotta wake up in the mirror and say, hey, like, yeah, let's go. I do this. I love this. People love my music, and we're gonna change the world.
I love that. Man, I don't know, but like I just got fired up listening to that. Like you make me want to go into music now.
Hey, let's go.
There we go. Let's do it. Awesome, man. Well, it's super cool just to hear about your journey and to get to know a little bit about what you've been up to these days and the direction you're going. To everyone that's listening, if they want to check out your music, if they want to follow along with your journey, see your content creation, keep up to date with everything that you're putting out music wise, what's the best places for people to connect with you and to check out all your content and music?
Yeah, so I'm streaming on all music platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, all of that. It's Ernie, ItsErnie. I pop right up, listen to the music, hit me up, let me know what you think about the songs. For content, on Instagram, I have it's Ernie two underscores. On TikTok, it's Ernie, ItsErnie. Same as Facebook. You'll search it's Ernie, I'll pop up. On Instagram, I also have a Crazy Bars I've Heard page, which is just Crazy Bars I've Heard spelled out.
Okay.
So follow, tune in for the content. Let me know what you think of the content and the music, and I'm real approachable. Reach out, and I hope to have shows all over the country soon to meet everybody and connect with different people.
Awesome, I love it, and, to everyone that's listening, everything that Ern just dropped with his socials and streaming platforms, I'm gonna put that in the description of this episode, so, it'll be down there, go down there, click it, check it out, go connect, and if you are in that kind of, like, aspiring musician phase or you're thinking about doing it, like Ernie said, don't be afraid to reach out. I guarantee you, if you send him a message and say, like, "Hey, like, I heard you on the podcast. I'm new to music. I don't know where to start," or like, I just have a question. I guarantee he's more than happy to take the time out just to answer a question, fire you a message, give you some advice or something. At the end of the day, I've come to know Ernie to be just a really great stand-up person who just wants to see others succeed. Especially in the fields that he loves to. So don't be afraid to reach out, but please do definitely connect with him there. Check out his music, stream his music. I know that there's going to be a lot of good music coming to you in the future.
Oh yes, sir, most definitely. I appreciate that, Zach. And yeah,
Of
y'all
course,
reach
man.
out, hit me up.
Awesome, man. Well, Ernie, as we're wrapping it up, any last words that you want to leave our listeners with tonight?
No, man, I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned. We got more music, more content on the way. And hey, enjoy your day. It's a new month, new opportunities.
There we go. I love it. All right, my man. Well, appreciate it. It was great talking to you. I know you said you're planning on doing shows all over the country. So next time you're home in our state of Michigan, we're gonna link up for sure, and I'm gonna be right at that show. But keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing some great things. The music's great. I'm gonna be bumping it from here on out.
Hey, sounds good, man. Yeah, I'll see you soon at the homecoming show for sure.
All right, you take care. See you later.
You too. Peace.
Bye.